Hey guys, so day 2 of America Business Forum. Sorry I didn't get you a clip of the house. We're actually running a little bit behind. We're about 20 minutes behind schedule, so we should have already been there by now. But yeah, we're gonna get there. Looks like we missed Will Smith yesterday, which is a bit of a bummer because I really wanted to see him. However, there are gonna be some special guests appearing today. Jeff Bezos, but he's not playing until last, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it because we're flying to Arkansas tomorrow. So it's gonna be really crazy, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I can still get him on a clip for you guys. But yeah, the lineup was absolutely crazy today as well, same as yesterday. So I'll try to get the best clips I can get and see what I can get when I get there. So I hope you guys enjoy the vid, and yeah, peace.
Presents Jamie Dimon, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of JP Morgan Chase.
Grew up talking finance at the kitchen table as a kid.
What are you doing now? You're going to serve the people. Why can't you do better? What is somebody else doing?
In a world shaken by crisis, one man stood firm. As CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon built the world's most powerful bank, not by following the crowd, but by leading through the storm. While others fell in 2008, his discipline and foresight turned risk into resilience. A visionary of modern finance, a symbol of leadership when it mattered most. The leader built to last. America Business Forum presents Jamie Dimon. For the following interview, George Gonzalez, Vice Chairman and CEO of City National Bank of Florida, takes the stage of America Business Forum.
All right. So, Jamie, before we get started, I just want to take a second and thank everybody for being here this morning. I wasn't here yesterday, but I saw a bunch of video clips, and yesterday's program was outstanding. The lineup of speakers, including President Trump, really reflects the stature of this event, but more importantly, it reflects the stature of the city of Miami and the influence that we are generating both nationally and globally. Jamie, I'm sure you've been to a lot of conferences, I've been to a lot of conferences, and I've never seen the lineup of speakers that we've had yesterday and what we're going to have today. And a quick story. Mayor Francis called me up about 2 months ago and said, George, I am thinking about doing this event, here are my speakers, and we're going to make this happen. I said, Francis, you're crazy. You got 2 months to pull this together. Look at the speakers. You have the president, you have Jamie Dimon, you have a whole list of very influential people. You're never going to make this happen. But if you want to do it, let's try. And here we are. So Francis, you're a little nuts, but congratulations on a heck of an accomplishment. So with that, I want to take a second and one more time welcome.
So this is a great way to deal with an issue on something like that. Whenever we meet as a business unit, so it could be a small business unit like consumer branches or a big one like global investment banking, on the table and on the agenda is what are you doing in tech, AI, etc. That is always on the agenda. And I put differently than people. I don't say what's in your budget. I always say, are you doing everything you need to do to win in the future, period. And I don't care what the budget says. I don't care whether, and you may walk in and say, you know what, I was just over somewhere, I really need to do X. My view is, you better be doing X. You know, so to me, the budget is a roadmap. It is not your boss. And so I make people, we're going to do that. Stablecoin was one where I don't know how it's going to play out. But that also answers my question is, what do we do about it? We're involved. We're building a stablecoin. We may build with other banks. We have a JP Morgan deposit coin already, which I can pay you interest on. We use the blockchain. Any of these tools that you want to use for smart contracts, stuff like that, we are simply going to do. I don't know how it's going to sort out. But I'd rather be playing, which keeps us smart, than acting like I know the answer to it. And so, and we do that with all technology. Whether, you know, sometimes regardless of what I think about it, I want you to be dabbling in it. Because you're being smart is much more important than saying Jamie does or doesn't like it or something like that. So, and we do that with almost all frontier type of technologies.
I'm going to shift on you a little bit. So there's been a historic relocation of both people and capital to Florida and to South Florida, primarily from the west coast of the country, the Northeast, Illinois, DC.
Well, we're doing a shitty job in the United States. I mean, what right do I have to? I got to fix what we got before I do that. I also told them when I go international, it'll be big. It won't be. I called them up after we did the merger with JP Morgan. I said that's what I meant. I'm not doing this little Ricky-Dink stuff overseas. And but I'm always afraid when a CEO, particularly of a bigger company, wants to leave a legacy. I always say sell the stock. It's not about my legacy. I just want to leave behind a very healthy, vibrant company, and hopefully people say, you know, that son of a bitch made the world a better place. That's it.
All right, so just two quick comments. I'm going to bring this to a close. First of all, I was in New York last week, and I have to say this. If you guys haven't, when you go to New York, you got to go check this out. The building that JP Morgan just built at 270 Park, yeah, it is phenomenal. It is really just an icon. I understand why it took a little bit of time.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that would make my girlfriend happy. By the way, it was her birthday yesterday, so say happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
But yeah, I don't know that I've ever felt this fulfilled in my life. I feel really fulfilled that I get to do this job. It's an extraordinary experience. And you and I have talked about this. Maybe one day you're going to want to do something like this, Brett. I think.
No, you can take the baton.
To Live Golf, CONCACAF, FIFA Club World Cup, Surge Stake in PFL, and Sanibels as one of Silicon Valley's largest backers in next-generation technology companies. From shared investments to shared ambition. Anchored by major stakes in Lucid Motors, Savvy's $8.5 billion acquisitions of Scopely.
From escaping war-torn Iran as a young kid to serving in the U.S. Army and building PBD, one of the most influential podcasting platforms in America. Entrepreneur, author, visionary, a voice that challenges leaders to think bigger and to build bolder. America Business Forum presents Patrick Bet David.
Hey, can you take a picture? Or she's asking him.
How you doing?
For the following interview, Brett Baer, official host of the America Business Forum,
They
takes the
told me these
stage.
things are gonna come out. Don't jump. I was waiting for it. How's everybody doing today? Good? Fantastic. Patrick, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes the smoke scares you a little bit.
No, I was waiting.
You were
I'm
ready?
like, okay, I'm trying to see where it's going to come from, but no, that was good. That was a good wake-up call.
Great to see you.
Likewise.
Congrats on your success on all levels. You know, we start these going back to the beginning, and your beginning is unique. You were born in Iran. You came to the U.S. as a refugee. Talk to us about your family, how that kind of early displacement shaped your worldview and really kind of hunger for opportunity.
Coming here from Iran. If you don't mind, before we get started, folks, this is the one thing I do want to say about what's going on right now with Miami. There's a very special thing going on in this city. The last 100 years, if you think about the financial capital of the world for the last 100 years, New York City. Prior to that, it was London. Nobody ever thought anyone's going to take over London or New York City. I have a feeling what Mayor Suarez, what Miami is doing, the next 100 years potentially, Miami could be the next financial capital of the world. Now this is my prediction on what I think is going to happen. So we're excited about it. There's something very special going on in New York. You're always welcome to come here. I know you're being recruited from all over the place. We read all about it. But yeah, you know, born and raised in Iran, one of the benefits of being raised there is you are forced to always look out on what's going to be happening. There's always surprises. We were a Christian family. My mother's Armenian. Any Armenians in the house or no? 7 of you, that's awesome.
That's you.
Right? We need more. And if my dad's Assyrian, but David, there's going to be no Assyrians in the house. Really?
Ooh.
Come on.
Front row.
Okay. So born and raised in Iran, and this is 1978, October 18th. 3 months later, revolution happens. On the way to my mother going to the hospital, my dad, it's curfew. So they hold up my dad. My dad has to show. My wife's water just broke. I'm trying to take her to the hospital. My son's going to be born. I'm born there. 3 months later, Shah's kicked out. We stay in Iran till July 15th of 1989. June 2nd or 3rd, Khomeini dies. When he dies, I'm in school called Gulbenkian. I don't know what's going on. This is no cell phone, no nothing, no text, no pagers. My parents panic. They eventually get me. We get out, and I get to the house. My mom and dad had a conversation, and they said, we got to leave. He's going to turn 12. When he does, he has to serve the military here. That was my mom's idea. And then we left. July 15th, got on the plane, went to Germany out of refugee camp, and then came to the States November 28, 1990. But the part about being in Iran and the conflict and the refugee camp, you learned how to deal with people from different walks of life. And that kind of applies into business, because when you go into the Army, 101st Airborne Division, I'm the only Middle Eastern guy there. Everybody else is looking at each other saying, where are you from? And you know, folks from South Dakota have never seen somebody looking like this. This is not a normal face in South Dakota, you know, or Alabama. And they say, what are you? Why do you have a nose looking like that? I said, this is a legendary nose in the Middle East. They don't make them like this anymore, right? You can spend $20,000 to get a perfect nose. You're gonna need to spend billions to get a nose like this. This is God-given. Anyways, so that was the part where people skills, learning everybody else's story. I was kind of complimenting Brett in the back. How many guys would agree with me on this? When there is a debate, if he's moderating, I trust he's going to be fair to everybody. Yes or no? Make some noise if you agree with that.
Yeah.
The man's probably the best moderator we have every time we have elections, but I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's about hunger and for opportunity. At 28, you asked yourself kind of who you wanted to be. And you decide you want to be a leader among leaders. And you talk about the life that you had when you were in your 20s and how you got to that crossroads where you had to kind of dig deep and figure out who you were.
It's a very good question, because when I wrote the book, Your Next 5 Moves, the one question that I've asked people over the years that there's not an answer for is, when you live your life and you grow up, who do you want to be? What kind of a life do you want to live? Most of us don't know the answer to that question. Like, what do you mean, who do I want to be? What kind of a life I want to live? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the #1 guy? You're the founder where all the pressure's on you. You made the wrong decision. Why did you raise the capital? Why did you not raise the capital? Why did you hire that person? Why did you allow that person to be the board? Why do we expense that estate? That's not the good move regulatory-wise. Everything is on you. Some may like it, some may not like it. You may say, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be support. I want to be one of the executives. I want to get equity and be behind the scenes and bring value to the company. And that's my way of creating wealth and becoming somebody and making my family proud. You may be somebody that says, I'm a guy that's good on camera like you. I want to sit there and talk to people. I feel comfortable in front of camera. I'm okay with that pressure. I'm okay with the amount of criticism you get when you're on camera. And not a good question. Why did he ask this? That was not fair. You have to be okay with the level of pressure that comes with that. So for me, I was 28. It was a very weird phase of my life. I'm in a company, I'm doing very well for myself, and I go to a meeting at Miramar Hotel Santa Monica where Larry Arnn put it together. It was I want to say it was a heritage event. George Will was the speaker. So George Will goes up. I don't know who George Will is. I'm not a political guy. My parents, just so everybody knows, if you don't know, my mother's side, they're all communists. Except for the grandfather that made all the millions that they spent. He was a capitalist, which I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Some tells me Miami knows what I'm talking about. My dad's side, they're all imperialists. So on one side, everybody says poor people are lazy. On the other side, everybody says rich people are greedy. And I'm in the middle. Who's right? What do I do? But long story short, when I realized for me in 2008, when George Will was speaking about politics and America and the problems we're facing in America and how lawyers are creating unnecessary laws, and we're forgetting how great America is. People are afraid to get up there and talk about the fact that America is the greatest country in the world. We're kind of becoming a little bit apologetic. And he hit back, a message hit me at 28. I said, I feel like I needed this message. Then I got away and I said, okay, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to be a billionaire? Do you want to be rich? Do you want to be famous? Do you want to be a great father? Do you want to be a pastor? I went to my pastor who married my wife and I said, do you think I'm supposed to be a pastor? He says, you're definitely not supposed to be a pastor. That's not for you. And then I said, well then, let me figure out and then I said, I want to be a leader amongst leaders, period. If I lead amongst leaders, that's a very tough job because that means you have to take your parenting job seriously. That means you have to take your job seriously as a husband. It's not easy, it's a lot of pressure. As a business owner, as a content creator, when you give your opinion, there's some issues that can come back with pushback, but once that became my foundation, everything else was fairly easy.
So you're building your first company. Is there a moment where you wanted to blame circumstances and instead you said, ownership, I'm going to take this by the horns?
You don't have a choice when you start a company. You know, when you're in a company, you can always say, well, that's not my decision. That was the CEO's decision. The board made that decision. You know, it's not my fault. It's the market's fault. Once you're a founder and you start a business, you can't blame the market. You can't blame your executive team. You hire them. You can't blame your clients. You can't blame the economy. You can't blame regulation. You can't blame your lawyers. It all falls on you. So there comes a moment when you transition and start a company, you're a founder, that all those layers you had of comfort, of leaning on somebody, is fully gone. You either take full responsibility and make it happen, or one night I'm laying next to my wife, I come home, we're in the business for about a year and a half, I'm down to my last $13,000. I have nothing else left. I'd saved up $500,000 in my 20s, I started a business with $500,000, I'm down to my $13,000, I come home, my wife, who's like the sweetest person I met in my life, complete opposite of me, she's so nice, she doesn't like the camera, she's just a great mother, everything works with me in the office, and she had a miscarriage. And it's the first time you go through a miscarriage. It's very difficult on the woman and the man, so we don't know how to handle it. Everyone says, well, 70% of the time you go through a miscarriage the first time, but the first time is the first time when you're going through it. And she's crying. She has no idea I got $13,000 left. I'm about to lose a contract. We're living in this community in Woodland Hills called The Summit. It's 1:30 in the morning. I go outside. I listen to my 80s music. I'm listening to Foreigner. I don't know why I was listening to I Want to Know What Love Is, but that's the song I was listening. I wanted some love from God upstairs. And I said, am I doing something wrong here? I'm working my tail off. Like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Why are you making it so difficult? Like, I was almost like it was pleading with your father. And then next week we get a massive bonus from AIG. And then that allowed us to be able to pay everybody's salaries for the next 2 months. And then next, we grew. We went from having one office to a few hundred offices nationwide, 50,000 insurance agents nationwide. And then we sold it 3 years ago. Money came from Harvest and Silver Lake, a company called Integrity Marketing Group. And it was life-changing. But it was that moment where I'm like, can you really do this? Is this really for you? And then from there on, things changed.
Amazing. You talk about being disciplined with health and money, mindset. Which of those was hardest to kind of master? What finally made it click for you?
Mindset is so challenging because you have to control your imagination of what other people think about you and what you think about yourself. And you know, there's going to be moments where you are alone. You can't come and talk to your wife and say, babe, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not. To build something special, you will hit a wall. You can't call your father, especially if the decision, my dad wanted me to be a cop. I'm a big guy. My dad said, look, Patrick, some people are meant to be cops or military. God made you big and scary to be a cop. You make a very good cop. I said, you want me to be a cop? He says, you be a cop. I went and took the test to be LAPD. I had 16 speeding tickets at the time. They wouldn't let me be a cop. I thought it was like an advantage. I'm going to catch the bad guy. They said, no, it's a bad thing, so I couldn't be a cop. But there was a moment when your family said, we didn't tell you to start a business, you did. Your wife is telling you, I didn't ask you to leave and start a company. We were already having a good life. Your friends are telling you, so then you're alone. And in that moment when you're alone, you're going to be tested mentally and emotionally. You either have it or you don't have it. If you break, that's it. If you don't, you don't. It's like a tryout. In football, they call it Hell Week. In business, when you go through this moment, when you're by yourself and you realize the only way to get to the next level is I have to change the way I view things. If I don't, I'm going to stay here. And it's painful because it's almost like a mode of recreating yourself. I'm good for this level, but I'm not good for the next level. That recreation mode is breaking yourself and, saying, like if you look at the president today, if we're playing video games, the president is at level 100. But go to the president in 2016, or go to 2020 when all the COVID stuff was going on, how he was approaching with the media. And look how he's doing it today. He's so nimble. He's fluid. It's like he's reached a level where he knows, and he's sitting there, Maloney from Italy is asking him, so you do this with media every day? Yes, there was a hot mic. She says, I can't stand our media. He says, I talk to them every day. We're witnessing what he's gone through with the levels he's got, where you heard the news today. I believe they're getting closer to finishing up the deals for the terrorists, which is unbelievable news if they pull that off. But you have to get to a moment where you're by yourself, and in that moment you really realize if you're ready for the next level or not.
Well, you kind of answered there, but you've interviewed countless high achievers. Is there one thing, one common habit you notice of those who manage to evolve and not like hit a plateau?
It's funny you ask that because I'm having a conversation with Brady or the late Kobe and a lot of other people, but when you look at the Brady, who 7 championships and he had to overcome all these things, the pattern I notice is the following. Number one, those who go to a point where they can handle pain, they've had 2 types of people in their lives. One is a person that gives you unconditional love, that you can't do nothing wrong in their eyes. Typically it's a mother. No matter what you do, don't worry, oh baby, I love you, but I did something wrong. I love you, baby, you're my son. Like, wow, what a weird human being. That's called unconditional love, right? Number 2 is a person, Brett, that no matter what you do, you're never gonna win them over. I just got a degree. Yeah, but Johnny was a valedictorian. I just graduated law school and I passed my bar exam. Yeah, but he's already at the top of his class. It's like the movie Judge. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Judge with Robert Downey Jr. and Duvall. That one scene, do you realize I finished this and that? You realize? And he says, you know what? And that's emotional moment that they have together. So unconditional love, no matter what you do, you will never win them over. Ever. You will never win them over. And last but not least, you have to choose your enemies wisely. I think too many times people don't choose their enemies wisely. It's super critical. You choose an enemy that's a low-level enemy below you, you're going to work backwards. You choose an enemy ahead of you that brings out the best in you, you're going to see a different side of you. So that's what I would say, those 3 things.
The other thing you said, and you talked about this, that's great stuff. What would it be?
If you're talking about the one advice that I would give my kids, You know, many years ago, I was solving for what I need to do to be happy. It's like the key to life is you gotta be happy. You know, I'm under too much stress, I wanna be happy. I realized that's phony, that's fake. Happy is like, you know, if you wanna see me happy, let's have a medium rare bison with some foie gras and some beef carpaccio with some nice, you know, Parmesan cheese on top of it, with a nice Arnold Palmer 80-20, 80% iced tea, 20% lemonade, squeeze lemon in it, and give me 6 people that are good people to talk, I'm the happiest person alive for 2 hours. And then it's gone. But then you go the next day, eat the same thing again, because you gotta keep that happiness, right? Going every single day. But to me, what I learned is the following. There comes a point in our lives where you have a certain values and principles that you wanna live by. If these values and principles that you're teaching your kids are aligned with the way you live, you're living a fulfilled life. If these values and principles that you're telling your kids to live by contradicts the way you live, you are miserable. So every time I measure myself is, am I living this life? But because if I'm acting, I'm not loose. I enjoy being loose. I enjoy being free to share my thoughts. And the only time I'm not is when these guys are fighting. So I try to do my best to live an aligned life. If you live an aligned life, you're gonna live a fulfilled life, and future looks bright if you do so.
Patrick, that day. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
The Adam Smith Center for Economic Freedom at Florida International University, exploring the intersection of government policy.
So guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. My baby right there. Yeah, just thought I'd actually get you guys a different shot. We just came outside now, just saw Serena Williams. You probably just saw it in the video. But yeah, just came outside. There's actually no smoking anywhere, even in the outdoor area, so it's kind of annoying, but for me anyway. But yeah, I just saw this pretty cool shot, so I thought I'd just come over to the outside and get this little video shot. I'm gonna spin this round. I wonder what this does. And do anything. Alright, I'm gonna spin this clip round real quick. Yeah, I thought I'd just get this little clip right here. The building's right on the water. Pretty cool. See these nice yachts and stuff. Pretty chilling. Pretty chilling with the palm trees. This building's huge. It's like an airport inside, and they have like tons and tons and tons of food vendors, from Papa John's, Skinny Louie's, chicken chow. You can get Indian, anything you want. Pretty cool. There's the Eye of Miami, like the London Eye. That's Bayside Marketplace over there. There's the cool shops and stores and stuff for anyone that's not been there before. This is one of the outside areas. The Caseta Center. See if I can zoom out a little bit. Pretty cool though, right? Pretty cool.
Legend whose story is larger than sport. From the public courts of Compton to the grandest stages in the world, she redefined what greatness looks like, winning 23 Grand Slam titles and becoming one of the most dominant athletes in history. But her legacy goes far beyond tennis. Entrepreneur, investor, mother, and advocate, she's built an empire rooted in empowerment, resilience, and purpose. Her journey is one of breaking barriers, inspiring change, and proving that champions aren't born, they're made through belief. America Business Forum presents Serena Williams. For the following interview, Danny Berger, Bloomberg TV anchor, takes the stage.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining for this conversation, American Business Forum for having us, and most importantly, Serena, thank you for sitting down in this spaceship for this conversation. Yes, this is great. So here we are at the American Business Forum, and Serena, from a very young age, you from literally being at the negotiating table with Puma as a teenager, to taking investor calls on your way to center stage at Wimbledon, Serena, the businesswoman, and Serena, the athlete, have always been linked. When did you yourself think of you as a businesswoman?
When did I think of me as a businesswoman? That is a really good question, because I feel like I've always thought of me as a businesswoman. I think when it came to sport and when it came to things that I did in sport in particular, listen, my job was a business. You know, it wasn't for me just about going out there and hitting tennis balls and winning. Obviously, that was the biggest part of it, but it was also really about being a business, being an entrepreneur. And at the time, when I was doing all this, there was lots of things and lots of people saying that you have to focus only on tennis, that you can't do other things, you can't have this other stuff, you can't be an entrepreneur, you can't think about other businesses, you really just have to do tennis. And I pushed that envelope and I said, you know what, that's not me. I am the kind of person, I was taught from an early age, actually from my father, that it was really important to have a plan B. I don't know if he thought that I would do decent in tennis or not. Maybe that's why he told me I needed a plan B. But that's something that kind of always stuck with me. And so when it came to what I wanted to do in sport, whether it was fashion or whether it was design or whether it was investing, it was something that was always going to be this entrepreneur. And now the new modern athlete, if you think about it, the modern athlete, if they're only playing their sport, then now that's frowned upon. True. So I love seeing the difference of how it started versus how, you know, people look at sport as an athlete now.
I mean, what a plan B. A lot of people spend all their lives even having that as their plan A. But when you decided to make it your plan A, when you announced in 2022 that you'd be stepping off the court, did you have any hesitation or any concerns about leaving tennis behind?
Absolutely. You know, my whole life has been tennis up until when I retired. And I always thought, I actually never knew when it was going to happen. I always wanted to retire, but I actually never did it because it just wasn't realistic. Like imagine growing up from as long as you can remember having a tennis racket in your hand, and then one day it's just done. And it's you know, the thing is, you expect it from the moment you have that tennis racket in your hand, but you never really expect it until it's over. It's just this weird feeling. At any rate, I always knew that day would come. I just didn't really know when or how, but when I did decide that it was time to move on, I had already started other businesses. I had already been investing when I don't like the word retire, but when I evolved from tennis, I had already been investing for, I don't know, like 8 years at the time. I'd already had my firm. I had already built a great team of people that were way smarter than me around the table. And it wasn't something that I would just have a hard fall from. I felt like I wanted to have a softer landing, which I don't know if I did or if I didn't. I wanted to have a softer landing, but I also didn't want to start something new when I just finished something. And that's something, again, my dad always told me, like, you can't go into something brand new when you finish. You need to already have it started. You need to already have a plan. You know, if you don't have that plan, then it's going to be difficult to start something new. And so I was really grateful for that, because if I were to have started investing now, after I retired, I mean, oh my gosh, the learning curve and doing everything, it would have taken years and years, and a lot of that experience was already done while I was playing. So,
well, you know, it's such a good point that it is.
Yo, wait 1 second, turn it down a little bit. Yeah, so yo, Guys, the event was a madness. I actually spoke to a couple of people and they said they didn't see Will Smith at all. So as much as I really wanted to see Will Smith, I don't think he actually showed up, because they did say that some of the situations are subject to change, some of the lineup and the speakers and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of annoying, but we got to see some really cool ass people, as you guys saw. Just got back home, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and see some of the speakers. There was so many bits we missed. I couldn't get everything on camera. It was kind of a bit of a mission. It was a little bit awkward to be filming in there as well, but yeah, it was lit. Like, we saw so many big people, so many people that I wanted to see in real life, all in the same 2 days. So yeah, like I said yesterday, I hope you guys found this inspirational and stuff like that. And yeah, definitely comment all your thoughts, feelings, and maybe what you want to see next time in the next event. Thinking of maybe going to some networking events. Grant Cardone's Wealth Conference is in December, so might go to that. But yeah, if you guys got anything you want to see, just definitely let us know. And yeah, basically blessings all around. Peace.